Hello, good evening. Hope the volume's okay. Do let me know. But welcome to Phil's Corner Live, the first edition of Phil's Corner Live, and I've got the football on the telly as well. So I hope if you are watching Champions League, stick this on the second screen and let's chat. Let's chat about what we see tonight. Nice one, Middleman Football. Thank you so much. Thanks for popping in. And let's talk about Champions League. Also, I wanted to talk about Adidas. Hey, Steve. Great to have you here, mate. But this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. Have a bit of a stream, something to go alongside the regular Phil's Corner content. And we've got, a corner of the room there. That's close enough, right? That's a corner. We'll take that. But welcome. And if you've watched Phil's Corner before, in many ways this will be quite similar. A bit more relaxed, a bit more free. Do fire in any questions in the chat. I'll be here till at least half time, at least the second half of the Champions League games. So plenty of time to chat. But great to finally get a stream going. Unfortunately, I don't have my usual microphone, so the audio might not be as crisp as it could be. Hopefully the webcam mic isn't too bad. I have got a new webcam, so I think we should all be good to go. And we've got, of course, the Phil's Corner shirt next to me. This is, of course, what you can get if you support me on Patreon. And again, you'll know from watching videos what that's all about. But as I'm watching, I've got the goal show, James Richardson and the gang from BT Sport. So I think as I'm seeing the kits, I'll talk a bit about them as we jump between the Champions League, and I'll talk about Adidas in the kind of in-between bits. But already I'm seeing Dortmund's kit, and of course this was widely talked about today. And it does appear to have the small crest. So a change from Puma, yet another change. This year, I think, probably more than any other year, we've seen so many changes to kits. Be it Venezia and that debacle, which is still ongoing. Inter, earlier this evening, wore their away kit without the snake, or it was very subliminal. It was a subliminal version of the snake pattern. Dortmund now changing after the fans. So it's hard. It's a lot to keep up with this year. A lot of changes. Ajax have had problems as well. And speaking of Ajax, Middleman Football, did you watch a bit of Ajax? I caught the highlights, mate. I saw that just before tuning in to the goal show. So another win and looking pretty good. Allaire with 5 goals in 2 games. That's not bad, is it? He looks the part in that kind of role. So really quite interesting times for Ajax. Of course, they did really well a couple of years ago. Why not? And obviously with the third kit, they would be a popular one for neutrals, I'm sure. Duncan Evans, thanks for popping by, Duncan. So, good question here. Oh wow, we've got a goal. We have got a goal. I don't know how far. Oh no, has it been ruled out? It's been ruled out. And Cuckoo had a great game against City last time, didn't he? Hopefully I'm not too far behind of the live games. But looks like he was just offside in the build-up. Or there was an offside in the build-up, I should say. It's at Forsberg. Leipzig, we could talk a lot about Leipzig. But anyway, back to Dortmund. Duncan, great question here. Asking, the addition without the badge, do you think that will become a collector's item? And Duncan, a lot of people have been asking similar questions because of things like Venezia, because of things like Inter tonight. I think my perspective on Dortmund and the other kits is that you're not necessarily going to see a marked difference in value, simply because these shirts aren't limited edition, and the changes made. It is a goal. It is a goal. It's been given. Sorry to interrupt myself there, but Leipzig. There we go. Early lead for them. Impressive. We'll talk about them in a bit. Back to Dortmund. the value of that original shirt, I don't think would necessarily be much higher. But the key thing is it was worn, so that's good. The fact it was worn, and Dortmund of course won. Bellingham had a great game in the shirt. I think if anything that does help, but I don't think it necessarily becomes more valuable. It's a nice little thing, and I said they were not limited edition. Of course, if that batch is for whatever reason a bit smaller, it does help increase value. But really, the key things of value are things like availability. And as far as I'm aware, that shirt is still available from some retailers. I know Dortmund themselves, I think they changed their store today, so you can only get the badged version. But you know what, I quite like the non-badged version, the one that they wore. A lot of people didn't like it. It of course was very much that kind of Puma focused template, which a lot of people hated, but I quite like that one that you've got, Duncan. But so I would say not necessarily more valuable, but and we've got another goal, it seems, in the PSG game. Again, I hope I'm not too far behind, otherwise this would kind of kill any anticipation I'm giving here. But it looks like it's going to be PSG. Here's Mbappe, he's played out to the right. He's gone back to Mbappe. Neymar's in the middle, he's missed it. Idrissa Gueye has scored, so there you go. You've got Messi, Neymar and Mbappe on the pitch, but Idrissa Gueye gets the opener. Those amazing shorts. That fantastic PSG typeface. Let's just talk about PSG for a second. It's quite an unusual kit aesthetic, isn't it? Seeing it on the pitch. Really, the shorts are the star of the show. But look at that. I mean, you know, PSG have been close a couple of years. If they were to go and win the Champions League, it's a big if, but if they ever did, this unusual shirt would be immortalised. It already is quite a story. Just looking at that again, it's all about those shorts. They are the most interesting shorts I think we've seen in a long time in football. And the typeface is great. Their cup typeface is amazing. That's great for the PSG game. So the PSG City game is going to be a great watch. And yeah, Duncan, I do like the long badge version. I think it's really nice. I think, I do like I can't remember, does the replica have the embossed badge? I don't know if it does, but certainly I like the version the players wore with the embossed badge. But even without the badge, honestly, I think knowing that typeface, which many people didn't like, was actually inspired by an old Dortmund shirt, I think that adds a lot to it. In my football, I don't mind the jersey without the badge. Yeah, I think I would agree. I think, many people were freaking out about the Puma shirts. I don't necessarily think they're all nice. Some of them were better than others. I think some of them you can really see the value of a good typeface. Oh, it does. Nice. That's good. That's good. Yeah, honestly, I mean, the more we talk about Duncan, the more I think I kind of want to get one now. I might have to go and see if I can get one and buy one, because I do think it's quite interesting. So, But just to finish on PSG, of course, their shirts are quite hard to get now, or at least, if you want to get Messi printed, for example, they're quite hard to get. A win here would definitely improve that stock of the shirt. Yeah, I completely agree, Duncan. I was very fortunate enough to get the Milan one. I was sent the Milan one, and nice. And then CTA, Stade Rennais. Yeah, I think that was one of the better ones. I think in terms of we see so many kits in a season. It's really nice to have that kind of collection. I think, despite some of the wrinkles, despite some of the faults. I wouldn't have done quite what Puma did, but honestly, I think we will look back more positive than a lot of people are thinking at the moment. I quite like the Valencia one, although I believe the club are interestingly putting a vote to fans through the Socios platform, which is another story I don't really want to talk about too much because that is a bit of a mess. But I believe fans are voting on what sponsors have for that, so that's quite interesting. Just a couple more Champions League kits to talk about. So we talked about PSG, and actually I'll give it a quick score because I still got to do reviews. If I was to score the PSG kit out of 10, I'd probably give it a 7, but the shorts I give a 9 out of 10. I think that's where I stand. And City, actually, quickly, we saw the City shirt, of course. That one for me is pretty good. I think that's more like an 8 out of 10. I think the iridescent features are certainly quite trendy. Yeah, and I think there's kind of that teal, well, I guess it is the kind of light blue, kind of teal shade that's the secondary colour of that away kit, if you like. I think is really interesting as well. But we've got the Milan Atletico game now, and this is an interesting kit matchup. Of course, the Atletico third shirt was on my season wish list. I really like it, guys. That collar is doing a lot for me. Yeah, it's a bit Where's Wally, but you know, I think it looks great. This kind of checkered collar thing I think is really interesting. So that one personally is a, you know, I said City was 8 out of 10. That's a 9 out of 10, the Atletico one. Milan shirt, on the other hand, does very little for me. I think it's one of Puma's weakest efforts. Not to say it's a bad shirt. I don't think, you know, we're talking anything sort of below a 5 out of 10, but it's a middle of the road. It's a 5 or 6 out of 10. I'd give it a 5 out of 10. Nothing about it excites me. I don't really like kind of barcode style striped shirts necessarily. They can work. Oh, just look at that Lesco kit there again. Love how the checkered design carries on the side there. But yeah, Duncan quite like the white PSG kit. Yeah, that one is funny. It's not one for me. I don't love it, but it's really stylish. It's a very stylish kit. No surprise that it's very popular. I'd certainly take the away over the third. I think the third, the black design is not great. Feels, I think, particularly a bit flat after seeing all the Puma stuff and digesting the Puma stuff, and then we see a similar idea with the swoosh on the sleeve of the third kit. But the white one, Duncan, is decent. It's decent. Now, guys, as the games are talking, I'm going to briefly mention Adidas because I wanted to talk a bit about Adidas tonight. And partly this is because I wanted to show off a couple of my recent purchases. They're next to me here. Let's just talk about Adidas briefly. Adidas, to me, are struggling. I really think when I think about you know, my favourite brands this year and the brands I've been talking about this year, Adidas don't often feature. And I was thinking this week about what are kind of the things that they can do to get back to the top. So tonight, just in between, as I say, talking about the Champions League kits, I wanted to give a bit of a pitch to Adidas, so to speak. Not that anyone will be watching from Adidas, but if they were, what are some of the things they could do? So that's what I'm going to be talking a bit about today. And again, I'm basically showing off a couple of recent purchases that you can see next to me. But that's just a quick teaser for what's to come in the next hour. But in many ways, there's plenty to talk about with the Champions League, isn't there? But yeah, I really just can't get over into Circuit. So funny enough, I did actually buy that one myself. It was a rare early season purchase for me. Partly because I was quite keen to get it without the sponsor, and I wasn't sure how that was going to work because I know earlier on in the year there was a situation where basically they were selling them sponsorless initially. Sorry, the away shirts sponsorless and the home shirts. So I kind of wanted to get in there early with the third shirt. Plus, I wanted to get a Drive for ADV shirt for this year. I've got a couple of Apenits from last year, but I wanted to compare the Drive for ADV. So I'm going to be doing a video between, in the next few weeks, hopefully comparing Vaporite and Drive for ADV and just saying which I prefer, what are the differences. So that's coming up. But anyway, into third. Interesting design for me. Obviously there's the historical link, but a very unusual colourway. I don't love the collar. It's not my favourite kit in the world, but I do quite like the overall aesthetic, despite the few things that I changed. But yeah, it's an interesting one, Middleman. John Carl, when does your TV show air and where can it be seen? So John Carl, it's very soon. I mean, potentially, there's not a confirmed date, but it is going to be a matter of days rather than weeks. Put it that way. As soon as I have a date, I will post on my Twitter. I honestly can't wait to show you guys behind the chevrons. It's going to be, I mean, it sounds like I'm hyping this up, but it's going to be really cool. I'll have to maybe do a video actually talking more about my experiences there. It was an incredible few days. it was just a dream come true. I really cannot believe it's happening. Yeah, I hope you guys watch it. Obviously, the show will be nothing without the support of the community and you guys. But you're going to love it. You guys are going to love it. The first episode is all about Hummel's UK shirts, and I'm basically chatting with Rob Revel, who's the head designer. He basically designed all of Hummel's UK shirts for this season and has done for the last few seasons. And he has some great stories. And yeah, so John Carl, thanks for that question, mate. And do tune in. As I say, I'll announce as soon as I know a date. But it should be in the coming days, and I emphasise days, not not weeks, but days. So that's really, pardon me, that's really exciting. Right, quick Champions League chat. We've got Real against Sheriff. Sorry, interesting to see Sheriff in an Adidas template there. And this template, I can't remember the name of this particular Adidas template that Sheriff are wearing. This one I think is one of the lesser spotted ones. I've not seen many teams wear this. It probably is the weakest one actually. In the black it's not too bad there, but yeah, between them and Real. Oh! Wow, there we go. As I was talking about Sheriff, my boys Liverpool. Not that I've got an early lead. Just waiting for the confirmation there. It's taken a while, but I think it is Salah. So there we go. Maybe we'll have a repeat of Liverpool's previous successes against Porto. Nice early goal for the boys in Reds. And yeah, I barely finished talking about Sheriff before it was like Curtis Jones there with the shot deflected into the path of Salah. He didn't really have much to do, did he there? And Liverpool, their home kit, not universally loved. I am kind of so-so about the home kit. I do like it, don't get me wrong. I've just not quite worn it as much as I thought I would. But then again, we're playing pretty well in it this year. Of course, the previous match day was a good result in that kit. Interesting to see them wear it again. I kind of half expected the yellow third kit, but it's quite nice to see the red one. Yeah, and Porto. I'll say actually Porto. Actually, let's do a few quick ratings. So Liverpool, for me, it's a 7 out of 10. You know, it's solid. Porto, that one, I must say, actually, I don't actually quite like it. I've not been that hot on New Balance in the last couple of years. I think they're not nearly as good as they were a couple of years ago. For some reason, this Porto kit, I'm going to actually say I dislike it. I think that's maybe harsh because it's not the worst kit. But I don't particularly like the blue, the choice of blue as that kind of tertiary colour with the main blue and white. The lighter blue doesn't do anything for me. So the Porto is probably a 5 out of 10 again. And yeah, so there's some quick ratings for you. Hopefully I'll get through to give it a number on each kit this evening. Middleman, Phil, what do you think about Adidas sponsoring all the MLS clubs in the States? Yeah, this is I think on a personal note, I'm not a huge fan of league-wide manufacturers. I think whilst there is the potential, if a brand really kind of made use of that, in theory it makes sense because they've got the contract. They can afford to be a bit more experimental. But I think with MLS rather, there's a couple of things holding it back. The first one being that, Milan have scored. Is it Kessie? No, it's Leao. Amazing. Strong goal there. And wow. So some early goals in the Champions League tonight. Leao, he's flashed some brilliance in his time. A huge talent. And he's got the goal, so good start from Milan. Shout out to Giovanni, one of my patrons. He's at the San Siro rather tonight, so he'll be having a good time. Yeah, nice, good stuff. Some more goals. As I said before, I'm not big on the Milan kit. You know what? The other thing, guys, and I think I've said this before, it's that scoop neck as well that Puma have. I'm not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of the of the scoop neck, but there we go. They won't care. They're leading, so it's not so bad at the moment. But yeah, Miniman, sorry, to come back on the MLS kits, I think, yeah, there could be the potential if Brown really made the most of that opportunity and kind of said, right, we're going to do some interesting kits. But when you've got this kind of light dark rule where most teams have a white kit as an away kit, it's great for kind of, you kind of know a bit more where you stand from a practical perspective. But from a kit lover's perspective, it does hamper kind of creativity sometimes. And just broadly speaking, we've not seen Adidas really do their best. And we're talking about Adidas a bit more tonight. And actually, we'll come on to them. We've got an MLS shirt next to me. So just as I'll mention Warrior, as the guys have said in the chat. And then we'll talk more Bruges. No, offside. So, Warrior. It's quite hard actually, isn't it, to watch something and try and do something else at the same time. Maybe I've picked a tricky evening, but hopefully this will still work. Quickly on Warrior, as John Carlin and Middleman have mentioned. Yeah, I certainly prefer New Balance's work to Warrior. Warrior did some interesting stuff, and I think in terms of kind of looking back, they got a lot of stick at the time. I don't think all that stick was merited. I don't think all the shirts. Yeah, I mean, people focused on things like the strange away and third kits that Liverpool had. But if you look at some of the home kits, I think they actually did some decent stuff. So, yeah, but it was interesting. Well, of course, when New Balance, I thought they were. Oh wait, has the goal been given? Sorry, I'm distracted watching this. It looks like Bruges have been given the goal. 1-1 against Leipzig. There's lots of action tonight in the Champions League. I love it. Love the Champions League. Yeah, nice goal. Bruges, of course, had a great result against PSG last time round. And it looks like they could be at it again away in Leipzig. So, yeah, in short, I think New Balance, for me, they were better than Warrior, but both of them had elements that were good. And yeah, in terms of MLS Middleman, I think my broad opinion is that I don't think it's necessarily good to have a league by manufacturer, but really, if a brand actually made the most of the opportunity, there could be some interesting stuff, but Adidas haven't. And to jump back to Adidas, this is my recent purchase, guys, this Portland Timbers shirt, and I really like this one. The reason I like this one, Portland Timbers is always quite interesting. It's got a great crest, of course, very famous design, quite a timeless crest there. And the colour scheme is great with the greens. But the reason I like this one is this is from the era where we had Tech Fit and Formotion. Now, if I lift the shirt up here, you can hopefully see the Formotion label there. And many of you guys will know that in the early 10s, about 10 years ago or so, Adidas actually had two versions of their player issue spec, if you like, of their construction. You had Tech Fit and Formotion. And interestingly, they actually allowed players or teams to actually choose which versions they had. So you actually had instances where some teams had players that wore Tech Fit and others wore Formotion. Now, strictly speaking, it didn't really make much difference in terms of... Oh, don't tell me if... Hang on a minute. Sheriff. Oh, wow. Sheriff have scored. Sheriff have scored. Okay, that is unbelievable. Look at that. They've got an Adidas template kit, and the typeface is one of the most simple you'll ever see. It looks like something they've just got from a local sports shop, but they've scored. Incredible. Maybe this will elevate that template, which is otherwise quite forgettable. It is quite a nice version with the black. I was maybe being a bit harsh earlier. But look at that. Great cross. Great header. Great goal. So there we go. Quickly jumping back to Adidas with Portland Timbers. So, and that era was really interesting because Adidas... Oh my goodness, City have nearly scored. I thought it went in then. God, it's all action in the first 25 minutes. So yeah, the full motion tech fit era was really interesting because Adidas were really trying things different with the construction. And the biggest thing that Adidas can do in 2021 or in 2022 is to go back to construction innovations, because so much of what we see from their kits, forget patterns for a second, we see the same kind of 3-stripe placement, we see the same basic construction. There's been a few changes, but broadly speaking, it's not been nearly as interesting. And Thomas Hill, great comment here to say that formations kits all seem to have odd collars. That's very true. There were some weird collars. This one is a very odd, a very deep V. Look how deep that one goes, almost to the sponsor. A kind of fake, or kind of, a deep V that's inset, I guess you'd call it. But this one actually, just quickly jumping back as well with the formation kits, really interesting. At the bottom here, as opposed to a kind of traditional shirt design, this one actually is like a kind of bonded, kind of heat, almost like a heat pressed style, as opposed to a stitched hem. So you can see on the inside there, if I turn it round, it's like a plastic hem. So it's kind of a bonded design. And then the cuffs are this really quite tight, kind of very stretchy cuffs there. It's a very interesting design, and the tech fit ones were sometimes even crazier with some of the kind of paneling that they did. But just when I see this kit, it's so much more interesting. It's got interesting elements. It feels like a much more thought out design. And of course, this is the player issue version. The replicas, weren't as interesting. But just broadly speaking, Adidas need to return to some of these ideas. That would be so much more interesting to me. Hi Seamus and Abertino, great to have you here in the stream. Yeah, CTA, exactly, the 3 stripes restrict Adidas. This is the thing, so actually if I just put this one to the side, the other thing, and I've got this classic Liverpool 90s shirt, we all know this one. Of course, for many reasons Adidas can't return to this kind of 3-stripe placement because of restrictions on branding, but one of the reasons Adidas was so good in the early 90s and the mid 90s was because they could use their 3 stripes in creative ways, and it made for amazing shirts like this. This is of course the Adidas equipment era, a very short-lived but very beautiful era. But I think you've kind of got to the kind of crux of the issue there, CTA, because the 3 stripes most of the time at the moment they're just on the top of Adidas shirts. Sometimes you see them on the side, but they're very boring basically. You know what you're going to get, and yet there are issues again with brand sizing and placement. So I don't have the answer in terms of what Adidas could do, but broadly speaking, I think Adidas need to look at ways, and maybe it is kind of creative ways of getting around regulations. I don't know how possible that would be. Oh wow, we've got a red card for Kessie. That has changed the game considerably. Well, I'm 1-0 up, but that is not a good situation for them. I'm guessing that was a second yellow. I missed that, but okay, that's one to watch. So yeah, returning to Adidas. So really, and this is the key point of my kind of argument tonight, I want to see stuff like this. It's a bit weird. The elements are odd, but even just things like, look at that section here where you've got this kind of little extra section. I don't know how clear that is on the camera. But that kind of in between the body and the sleeves there, which is the same on the back, and I think that's interesting. The other interesting thing about the shirt is the amount of detail. So we've got a really nice call out here, a little flag detail, which I think is really nice. If I could not cover that, yeah, there we go. And then you've also got, of course, the MLS patch and the American flag, as other MLS teams had at the time. But I think even just the back neck there, the kind of sunburst design, I think Adidas really, if they could return to this kind of construction focused design, which majors on innovation, which majors on just different elements rather than just the same old construction, I think to me that's more important than questions about patterns or colours, because you kind of know what you're going to get with Adidas shirts from a base design perspective. And Nike, on the other hand, by contrast, have been innovating. And even though they have kind of a set number of things like collars and, you know, kind of base elements, broadly speaking, their kits are starting to feel a little bit less samey. Thomas Hill, that back detail is a shout to the Tifo Timbers fans of AR. There we go. That is a nice detail. Thanks for that, Thomas. That's a really oh wow, Sheffield scored again. Yeah, Duncan, exactly. That's why we said about Puma, didn't we, at the start? When you think about how samey these Adidas kits have been for so many years, you know, for well, I mean, since the kind of technical full motion era, broadly speaking, bar one or two tweaks, something like the Puma third shirt just immediately shakes us out of that comfort zone. That's important. It doesn't always go well. And Albertina, yeah, I just think they're too basic. I think, you know, take this Real Madrid shirt. We're looking at it now. And we mentioned Sheriff's template shirt. Yes, Real shirt isn't as off the shelf. It's got a bespoke pattern, which is quite nice. I quite like that pattern, and I do like the combo of the blue and orange as a secondary detail. So it's a pretty solid Real Madrid shirt, but it's never going to be top tier because it just feels a little bit like it could have been any Real Madrid shirt from the last 6 years. Of course, that's not strictly speaking true, and you know, one thing that Adidas have done well is their material use has been quite good. So I really like, for example, my Japan player issue shirt. That material is lovely in the body. It's got that kind of waffle texture which other teams have. That's really nice, but you know, that's kind of clutching at straws, really, finding good stuff to say about Adidas. Really good stuff to say about Adidas. That's not to say we don't have good shirts, but they do just feel like they need another wave of inspiration for me, for sure. Chris Coleman, thanks for popping in, Chris. Do you think Adidas will rely too much at the moment on taking inspiration from previous 80s and 90s kits? So yeah, that's another thing, Chris. And I mentioned, so we've got the Liverpool shirt, which I talked about. Obviously, you know, Adidas could release a shirt like this and it would go down really well. Obviously, they're not with Liverpool, but, you know, a classic 90s shirt reimagined would be a crowd pleaser. But it is a bit of a trap in that if you do this, you're always going to compare to the original. And to me, I think it would be quite cool if Adidas maybe they did something like, you know, a collection of third kits inspired by the 90s. A bit like Nike did a couple of years ago, you know, bringing the Futura back. I think if Adidas did something like that, it could work. But yeah, I do broadly agree with you, Chris, in that I think, you know, Adidas's history is almost so strong that it's kind of, it can be a bit of a, a bit of a hole to fall into. So I think, yeah, I would think you're onto something there, and I would definitely say that for Adidas to take the next step, they want to be innovating as they have done in years previous. Oh, that's very close for Messi, although he's offside. Duncan Evans, Real home shirt's just at the same season. Yeah, that's the thing. So this Real shirt that we're seeing this evening, it's actually one of the more different ones. But that, you know, it's a home shirt. In many ways, I don't think that's necessarily the biggest problem because, you know, it has to be a white shirt, obviously. But I just think things like details and construction differences would take it to the next level. I think it's well within Adidas's capabilities. Again, they're so good with their material choices. I think that is actually quite good at the moment, and I shouldn't be too down on them. And don't get me wrong, you know, Arsenal's third shirt is probably my favourite shirt in the Premier League. Reinvented an old design, but yeah, it's never going to be top tier, at least compared to some of my very favourite kits of the year. Having said that, another good thing actually, I will mention, I do really like the player issue collar and cuffs that we've got now. So, you know, any of the United kits or Arsenal kits that are player issue, they've got that lovely kind of double, kind of layered collar on the player issue. And Duncan, you mentioned Bayern. Yeah, that one, that third shirt is a real grower. That's one which I initially wasn't thinking too much about, but the more I see it, the more I think it's quite nice, and it's obviously a bespoke design, so it does have something about it. One of the better Adidas shirts for sure. What else have we got? Thanks for your comments, guys. It's been great to chat with you. I'll be here for at least another half hour, so. But thanks so much. Do let me know either now or later on about what you think about this format. I'm kind of trialing this out. I'm new to the streaming game, so. Whoa! Dortmund have scored. Is that Marlon? Nice, nice. That is a good finish. First goal. So, crest or no crest, Dortmund seem to be getting it done. I really like the shirt. Despite, the hate it's been getting. And I do find it weird that they've got the old sponsor. It's kind of odd seeing that in the year where they've changed the main sponsor. But it's that luminous yellow shade, guys. I mean, not quite, but I've almost painted our living room that colour. Not because of Dortmund, but I really like that shade of yellow, and that's a tidy finish. If he starts banging in goals, in support of Haaland, this could be pretty special. Again, I'm getting carried away. I've already said PSG can win the Champions League. If Dortmund were to bring back the luminous yellow and then win, of course, that colour was one they wore in their last Champions League success. That would be pretty special. It's a shame they couldn't wear their special edition shirt from last year. That one is much better, of course, but yeah. I'm going to have to buy this shirt, aren't I, after we've talked about it tonight. Although I think I would prefer the non-crest version. Seeing this on the pitch, I really don't think it's as interesting to me. I just think there's something about that crest. It feels very much kind of last-minute kitman change, doesn't it? Dear. Seamus, the purple Hendrix shirt, that is one of my favourites. So it was on my wish list video, of course. Oh, Real going to equalise. Oh, that was so close. I didn't quite manage it. But yeah, that Hendrix shirt, I'm looking to pick that up at some point. I think, obviously, given MLS's cycle of having a shirt every 2 years, it should be available next year as well. So I'm hoping there will be some in the sale and that sort of thing. But I probably shouldn't wait too long because you never know these things. Sometimes they sell out and I'll regret it afterwards. So, yeah. One I'm keeping an eye on. And long sleeve would be really nice as well, for sure. Oh, plenty of action in this first half. It's been quite interesting. Just seeing the City typeface. I'm not a fan of the typeface on the shirt. I quite like the shirt, although did I give it a 7 out of 10 earlier? Seeing the scoop neck again, that probably is going to downgrade to a 6 out of 10. The more I see that in a game on the player issue versions, I don't like it at all. Even though the shirt is quite smart with the iridescent features and that lovely teal colour. Yeah, that's a bit of a blow to see that neck, that neckline, and the typeface. The digital clock typeface doesn't do anything for me. It's quirky, but compared to the PSG typeface, which we're now seeing on screen, that is miles apart. Even though it's a bit unusual, the PSG one for a football team, it's that very obvious Chicago Bulls link, and that's really nice to see. So yeah, I think certainly, the more kind of the story of the PSG kit is so interesting. It already has, there's plenty to talk about it, let alone anything that could happen on the pitch. So that one's very interesting. Now it looks like we've got a goal in in Leipzig for Bruges, and as I'm talking, it's been lost. Ball's lost into the box, scuffed across, and it is in. Bruges, they are having themselves quite the year in the Champions League. Let's talk about Bruges' kits. We've not talked about them so far this evening. Now, Macron and Bruges have been a really good partnership. I would say of all Macron's teams, Bruges are probably, they're certainly up there because given their Champions League exposure, They're flying the flag for Macron. They have done for a few years. This one is, it's nothing too exciting. The gold is a nice addition. I think as a third colour with the black. There's not too much to say about this one. At least it's nothing which I'd be rushing out to buy. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, given the success they're already having, it's not bad at all. And yeah, that's I think again we're looking between a 6 or 7. I'll give that a 7 out of 10. But actually, I'll give it a 6. I'll give it a 6. Looking at it again, don't love the collar too much. But yeah, if you want to get a Macron kit, you could do a lot worse than the Club Brugge shirt. Leipzig with it all to do in their kit. And how do you split? That's a shout, Silky Smooth. That's a shout. Yeah, maybe Hedrick split number 1, Bruges number 2 in the Macron table. Yeah, they've had some really nice shirts. Lovely shout there. A split in the Europa League. I don't know if they are, or the Conference League. I don't know if they're in Europe this year. Hopefully they are, so we can see more of their shirts. Yeah, Duncan. I think Macron. They've certainly been a favourite of a lot of collectors. I think a lot of people do rate them very highly. Oh, they're not. It's a shame. Silk Smooth. Maybe next year. But yeah, Macron, they're doing some good stuff. What else have we got here? Thanks again for your comments. Great to have you guys along. And yeah, really good to chat about shirts. What have we got here? We've got Middleman. This is a random, but jersey collecting has really made me appreciate kits from Umbro. Yeah, Middleman. I mean, if you want good Umbro kits, what was the year? Was it 2017-18 or was it 18-19? It was one of those two. Umbro were probably the best manufacturer. It was the year when they had the diamonds on the cuffs. They were so good that year. And even though it was a repeated theme across teams, there's so many nice kits. It looked really nice in the different colourways. It was, for me, for me it was, I thought at that time, this is it, Umbro are going to be, challenging the very, very top. Sadly, they didn't quite push on from that, and I would say they've since been kind of playing catch up a bit. But they really peaked a few years ago. So Umbro, you'll really enjoy it if you go back and look at some of Umbro's kits. And yeah, Duncan, you mentioned South American kits. Of course, I did one of my first videos on Umbro's shirts in South America. Oh, Liverpool nearly scored. Hendo nearly got a second in 2 match days. But yeah, what are we talking about? Umbro, yeah, Umbro great. And actually back to Macron, some great comments here. Bologna and Sampdoria great kits. Yeah, good chat, Abertino. I forgot about Sampdoria and Bologna. So another couple of good Macron teams. Yeah, Macron, they are one of those teams. They've got a lot. Brands. They've got a lot of teams, and yeah, quietly, I say, oh, is that another goal? Is he offside? I think he's. Is that Mane? This does feel a bit like when Liverpool were in Porto. In other years, we just need a couple more from Mane and a Firmino goal to wrap it up. Looks like job done for Liverpool. I shouldn't speak too soon, of course, but lovely stuff. Yeah, Macron. They do a lot of good stuff, and I probably don't give them the credit they deserve. They have a lot of good kits from across the leagues. I think a bit like Umbro, I think they were better a couple of years ago. But yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. What have we got here? Yeah. Interesting, Seamus, saying about the fitting. Yeah, Macron ones, certainly as standard, they fit usually a size or half a size tighter. And I would say, yeah, they're one of the trickier ones in terms of fit. For brands. I've certainly had Macron shirts which haven't fit as I'd expect to, but then again, it is tricky, isn't it? Most years there doesn't seem to be a lot of kind of standardisation. So yeah, I don't think Macron are the only ones, but certainly they've had a few kind of more questionable choices than others. Half time is coming up for some shirts, and that gives us a bit of a breather because it has been a very entertaining first half. We've had a goal in every game. That's pretty good going. 3 goals in the Leipzig game, and obviously Liverpool with the 2. There could be more actually. Here's Messi with a free kick. Or is it Neymar? It's one of the 2. Yeah, entertaining first half. What have you guys been enjoying? What are some of the shirts you've enjoyed seeing tonight on the pitch? Maybe ones that we've already seen or ones that are making their debut. Any which you're more keen to buy after tonight's action, do say in the comments. Lucas, yeah, that is pretty mad, isn't it, mate? 1-0 down to Sheriff. I mean, a long way to go. Real had a great result against Inter and a great second half against Inter. They could certainly do it, but just psychologically to have to dig themselves out. It reminds you, was it last year when you guys had kind of similar, well, when was it Shakhtar who took the lead in Madrid, and that kind of similar situation, having to dig themselves out of a hole again against Sheriff of all teams. So, yeah, tough one, tough second half ahead. I mean, same story for City in many, well, not same story, but similarly tough second half for City, albeit in different circumstances. It's going to be hard to overcome that deficit, even though it's only 1 goal. But yeah, it's going to be a good second half. Very good. That was it. Last one, Lucas. Yeah, Shakhtar with the 2 draws, was it? Okay, that was it. Yeah, so yeah, Real. We for many years we're used to seeing them dominate in Europe. For various reasons, they're not anymore. Strange times. Duncan, I like Alex's offense. Yeah, I think, in terms of the third kit, it probably will go down as the kit of the season. I think in terms of the kind of wide appeal, when you're looking at shirts, when I say kit of the season, I'm talking about not just the kit community and from a pure design perspective, but I think when a kit reaches the wider culture, so really it's between 2 shirts, I would say. It's between the Venezia shirt and the Ajax shirt. Those 2 shirts are so high in demand. Everyone wants them. They sell out when they go on sale. So yeah, I think Ajax's third kit certainly will be memorable. And similarly, Venezia as well. Although of course Venezia's kind of odd situation with the crest and no crest and all that kind of threatens to ruin the story somewhat, but the shirt will still be popular. It will still be sold, of course, at retail with the full details, and it is an incredible design. Not necessarily for everyone. It's the most ridiculous shirt you'll see. It's so lavish, it's so indulgent, but it's a fascinating story. I don't think it's the best shirt of all time by any means. I don't even think it's the best shirt this year, but I think it's an incredibly interesting shirt. It is like a fashion piece in a shirt. But there we go. So half time, yeah, as I say, love to hear your thoughts, guys. Thank you so much for the questions. Had some great questions, had some good discussion. I'll be here for a little bit longer before tuning out for the day. I'm quite tired. I've yawned a couple of times today. Oh dear. And I'm going to yawn again now. I've just said it. Do you guys ever get that? When just saying yawn causes you to yawn, that's maybe that's just me. But oh dear. What else have we got? Seamus, you need some mods in here. That Steve fella is solid. Yeah, you know what, mate? One day, if things get bigger, yeah, why not have some mods? Why not do all sorts of cool stuff? In many ways, I hope these streams will grow. Obviously, it's quite early days. But then again, we started the channel and I wasn't really sure where it was going to go. And now it's to the point we're approaching 3K subscribers. Part of the partner program now. So, yeah, it's really interesting times. And Lucas, I know since Champions League related, but West Ham's home kit is so clean. Hey, we're not just talking about Champions League tonight, mate. Anything else on the table. And yeah, West Ham, I really like that home shirt. It does, of course, call back to the shirt they used to have from the Tecania era. It's a really nice example of an old shirt revisited. You know, when an old shirt isn't just simply copied, I think that's really interesting. I think it's interesting when a brand takes a clear inspiration but does something, you know, a few tweaks here and there and brings it forward to the present day. Something like the Arsenal third kit that I mentioned, I think that's really nice. And the away kit as well is quite smart. You know, it's the kind of Argentina vibes. That's pretty cool too. And West Ham are doing well in it, so lots to like from their kit's perspective. Carl, interesting you mentioned Leeds shirt. I think you're spot on, mate. You know, you look at those two Adidas kits, and I think last year's home shirt was a bit stronger than this year's, but it just feels like Adidas. I mean, so when you've got a top tier Adidas team like an Arsenal, United, Real, and when I say top tier, I mean top in terms of the contract they have with the club. You know, there's more license, but a team like Leeds, who are the very kind of upper end of the second tier, if you like, where their kits aren't completely bespoke, but they occasionally have bespoke elements. There's just not enough about Adidas at the moment, and you need things like different placements of the three stripes, different construction types, and I'm going to mention again, I'll bring out the full motion shirt. You know, a lot of people aren't necessarily going to be too excited about stuff like this, but I think, again, even if it is just on the player issue version, more interesting paneling and construction elements would go a long way. I should have got a Tech Fit shirt as well, actually, to show you guys those. But do check out those. You can see elements which just make the shirt so much more interesting. And again, the details we talked about. That was a great shout earlier about this being inspired by, which I didn't realise, this being inspired by the tifo of the fans. You know, it's not to say Adidas do these details sometimes, but it just feels a bit at the moment like they're in a bit of a rut. So I want to see more innovation from them. I want to see them return to that kind of Tech Fit formation era Adidas. It was so fun. Those really were the days for me in terms of Adidas. But yeah, I think for Leeds, we could see a really good Leeds shirt if we saw that kind of approach. Yeah, Winterman, France in 2010, great example. I think some of the national team shirts were so interesting from that time. It was that, you know, the early 10s Adidas. Look at Marseille's kits. They were incredible. They had some really interesting designs. Very intricate detailing. Again, it was the focus was very much on detailing and construction. And it's not the kind of stuff that gets everyone out of bed in the morning. You know, a lot of people, be it collectors or even fans now, they want patterns and the bespoke nature of a kit is most important. But yeah, I think there's opportunities, but Adidas really do need to start moving, I think, in another direction. Albertino, I don't know if you already responded to the question. What do you think about Liverpool's third kit? Mate, I love Liverpool's third kit. Contrary to popular opinion, I really like the third kit. I think it's, it's obviously got elements of old shirts with the yellow and red, but I really like that collar and the design, the checkerboard design, reminiscent of the flag seen at Anfield and some famous Champions League finals and things like that in the stands. Images of the checkered flags. They're so, to me, it's a really nice motif to bring out. And I think having it on the collar, people joked about McDonald's and Five Guys. Honestly, haters gonna hate for me. And of course, you know, there is bias as a Liverpool fan, but I think even without that, I would still value this kit. I just think it's a really nice, simple element to introduce, but it looks really good. I'm intrigued, and I'd quite like to get it as a player issue as well to see the ventilation on that, because I think it's different. It's not the usual dry fit ADV, is it? Yeah, so I really like that one. I'm gonna be looking out for that one. I think that should come in the end of season sales, I hope. But to be honest, come Black Friday, I might just pull the trigger and get it on a deal somewhere. Shame you can't get it in long sleeve. You can't get any of the Liverpool shirts in long sleeve, as far as I know. But yeah, I really like that one, Albertino. Oh, sorry guys, I'm really sleepy. I'm making myself tired just talking now. But yeah, Albertino, I think yeah, it's one on my wish list for sure. Yeah, I probably will go for the player issue if I can. Again, just to kind of compare with Drive for ADV to this to the one that Liverpool have on the third kit. I think that'll be really interesting. So, some great comments, guys. Honestly, thank you so much for stopping by. I know it's only a relatively small huddle of us here. You know, we're not blowing up YouTube, but actually, this is yeah, it's so encouraging for me personally. You know, when you're someone like me who's putting out content, you know, we'll all have been there where you put out stuff and just for whatever reason it doesn't get views or whatever. So just to have people like yourself stopping by and chatting, yeah, it's why I do what I do, and I couldn't do all the fun stuff I've been doing without the support of people like yourselves. Yeah, I was almost getting emotional then just thinking about it. But thank you so much, guys. Seamus, was the Three Little Birds available in the Profit? Good question. I didn't see it, Seamus. I didn't see that one as a Profit. I think I've not seen any of the Ajax shirts in the player issue, and I wonder if it's one of those situations where just Adidas don't have that deal with Ajax. But good question. I haven't seen it, and I think if it was available, certainly the third shirts would have been snapped up. So I'm pretty sure you can't get the third shirt as a player issue, which is a shame because I do like, and I've been down on Adidas tonight, but we mentioned how much I do like the collar on a lot of the player issue Adidas shirts, and the material is good. So there are good elements actually, to be fair to Adidas, but we need a bit more from a construction perspective. CCA wanted the Valencia way, but found that the front design doesn't follow the way around. Yeah, this is a classic thing, isn't it, with shirts that don't have, you know, where the pattern doesn't continue, and that is always a shame. That is always a shame. Just looking at the Sheriff shirt, we're just watching the highlights now. It's funny that they don't have a sponsor either. Quite unusual to see a sponsorless shirt. Obviously, sometimes in Europe you see shirts without sponsors because of restrictions and things like alcohol sponsors being removed. But yeah, very interesting. If they win, that'll be quite a night for them. Hi Elijah, welcome to the stream. Welcome anyone who's joining, and I'm going to be here for a little bit longer. I probably will tune out partway through the second half, but yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. This is the first Phil's Corner live, the first live stream we're doing here, and I'm hoping to do more of these. This will help kind of fill in the gaps, hopefully, between Phil's Corner episodes. And yeah, trying out a new setup. Obviously, this isn't the corner as it usually would be. This is my living room. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for stopping by. And actually, Elijah, great points. You mentioned Inter's kit. Yeah, that was on my radar. I saw that on Twitter this evening, just as I was preparing for tonight, and quite interesting to note that the snake was pretty much all but removed. It was there, very, very subliminally. That one, a lot of people actually quite liked it. A lot of people actually said it was better than the original. I personally quite like the snake, despite how crazy it is. But interesting to see. Presumably, I didn't see confirmation. Most people were suggesting or assuming, understandably, that it was because of UEFA's restrictions. But the strange thing is, there's no consensus on what rule it's actually breaking. Or at least I didn't see that. Most people were saying it's to do with pictorial graphics and things like that. But I've not actually seen confirmation of what rule was actually broken. So very unusual. But and yeah, Alejandro, and great to have you here, Alejandro. A long time supporter of the channel. Yeah, the missing snake. I think it did make it look weird. Don't get me wrong. I think it was quite smart in a sense. If you like a cleaner kit, it's good. But yeah, Albertino, I agree. I think the snake made the kit. Obviously, if they have to comply to restrictions, fair enough. You can't really do anything about that, even though it's very inconsistent. But yeah, very interesting story. One I'll be tracking, and as we said at the start of tonight, just the latest in a range of kit changes. We've got Dortmund tonight, adding the crest, as we said, and Valencia we talked about tonight. All sorts of things happening. Keep the comments coming in, guys. Thank you so much. What else have we got here? Lucas. I don't really love any of the Madrid kits this season. Yeah, I think if I had to buy one, I do actually quite like the home of the three. And the third is an interesting colour. I quite like that colour. It does remind me a lot of the kind of Adidas equipment, teal or green. But yeah, I wouldn't much have to buy any of them. The home, I think, is a decent home shirt, but you know, I'm really rushing out to buy. Oh, sorry. Rushing out to buy Real home shirts. Man, I need to prepare more for these streams and get more sleep because I'm pretty sleepy. I've yawned about 5 times on this stream. I'm clearly not cut out with this, but no, that's all good fun. Avatini, you mentioned, both Avatini and Middleman, the checker collars of the PSV shirt. It's so nice to see that. I think that PSV shirt, and I've got one of the PSV shirts, the away, in my collection. One of my favourite shirts of all time, partly because of that checkered collar. And you mentioned Abertina, the 30s, 40s intershirt, an incredible design. I think that is one of the most interesting shirts I've seen from football shirt history. And so I love that Liverpool brought that back for the third kit. I really do. Chris, question about Teamgeist. What do you think? Yeah, I tweeted about this the other day, mate, and to me it's a confusing release. From what I gather, it's just a lifestyle shirt. But, when you've got that burgundy Nike Arsenal shirt, was one of the most memorable shirts of the Nike era. I associate it as a Nike shirt very much. So to see Adidas kind of trying to dip into that again, or try and kind of bring that spark back, feels very contrived to me. It feels very unnecessary, and I don't think the shirt does anything for me. Looking across the collection, they just feel like cheap remakes of the Teamgeist shirts. And I think Teamgeist, it gets a lot of hate. I don't hate it as much as some, but that's probably because of the nostalgia. I love Total 90 shirts. A lot of people hate them. And I was, for me, the noughties was when I was watching the most football. So in that sense, Teamgeist has a fondness. But I think, you could have taken that idea of Teamgeist. As we talked about this evening, I've talked about construction. Why not take the elements of Teamgeist and create a new Teamgeist, which is much more interesting, with a more modern construction and more unique elements, as opposed to kind of trying to reinvent or bring back the older kind of Teamgeist aesthetic. So yeah, nothing for me there from Adidas. I won't be buying any of those. Guys, thank you so much for these comments. Honestly, I've still not caught up, and we're over an hour in. So really, really appreciate it. Second half's kicked off. I'll stick around for a little bit longer, and then I'll probably call it a day. But I think we'll do another one of these. Maybe we won't do it on the Champions League night and see how that compares. But it's been really fun. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for supporting this channel, as you guys have, and means a ton. What else have we got? We've got Albertina. Exactly. I showed the PSV shirt. It's one of my favourites. That one, actually, fun story about that. It was probably one of my best bargains. I think it was something like £28 from Classic Football Shirts. It might be slightly more, but it was pre-boom, pre-football shirt boom. It was either 20 or 30. I think it was 28. Honestly, I'll have to get a screenshot and share that. For the PSV away shirt, the black and purple one with the collar from the Ronaldo days. It's a ridiculous price, and it's in great condition. It's in, I would say, very good condition, certainly for its age. The end of the collar is slightly curling, but otherwise it's in great condition. So Classic Football shirts, they used to be full of bargains. Now you have to be a lot more selective with Classic Football shirts. But that PSV shirt was one of my best buys. And it is one of my favourite shirts of all time. I think it's aged so well. The Ronaldo connection is incredible. And I couldn't believe that. I was looking when, I can't remember when it was, but I was tracking, some of my best bargains. And that one was ridiculous. Probably my best bargain of all time. I've had some good eBay snipes as well, but yeah, that PSV shirt. I mean, I don't know what it's worth now, but it's certainly three figures. Maybe even close to 150, I guess. Depends on where you're selling it and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll be keeping hold of that one. It's a great kit. What else have we got here? I've seen the black and white colour of the logos without the snake connects the shirt to Juventus. I hadn't thought of that, Albertino. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Not an association Inter want to be making for sure. Yeah. There we go. Bring back the snake. Middleman, okay, that's Puma. I appreciate how they go all out for clubs with limited edition jerseys. Yeah, that is true. Middleman. Puma do have some really interesting limited edition shirts. Dortmund, of course, we mentioned before, a great example. And you mentioned Monterrey. Yeah, that was that the retro one? I can't remember if that's the one I'm thinking of, but certainly Puma have done some really nice retro inspired shirts as limited edition shirts. And I might say in Penarol as well from South America had are they still with Puma? If it's them, do correct me if I'm wrong, but they also had a really nice limited edition retro shirt from memory. As second half kicks off in the Champions League, let's talk a bit more about the kits. Leipzig, let's briefly talk about Leipzig. I really like how across Leipzig's home, away and third, you've got shared elements. The kind of glitchy pattern. In isolation, it doesn't do tons for me, but I like that there's, that aesthetic basically across all three of the kits. Of course, the away has got a lot of love. It's on my personal wish list. And the third as well, which many people like even more. It's quite nice when you have a collection, home, away and third, and they all kind of look like they're meant to be together. It's quite rare in the modern game. So even though Leipzig have, of course, a lot of doubters, so to speak, or people who don't particularly like them for what the club are, from a kit perspective, they're really throwing themselves into it, and it's quite nice to see. From a shirt perspective, they really do a lot of things quite well. And the home shirt is the part. It looks the part, rather. Yeah, Chris, 90 shorts. I mean, it's been a good year for shorts. Gladbach as well. I haven't seen many pictures of them wearing the shorts, but certainly they were wearing them in pre-season. I hope they are still wearing them this year. I'll have to find some pictures. But they have looked really good. The stripy black and green and the PSG shorts, they do make the kit. They really do. I mean, the shirt is nice as well with the collar and cuffs, but yeah, it's all about the shorts there. Liverpool pressing, good save from the keeper. So yeah, favourite kit this evening, I think it's probably the Atletico third. I really like that one. I've talked about that one before. But shout out to Dortmund, Luminous Yellow getting another run out, and they're currently winning. I mentioned Leipzig. I quite like Leipzig as well. And PSG with the shorts. There's some more highlights. Some good kits on show. But things I don't like to see the scoop neck or the Puma shirts. I'm not particularly excited by the typeface of City shirt as well. And, I think there are a couple of pedestrian shirts in there. Porto's, just nothing about it is interesting to me. I think New Balance just, they really do feel like they are playing catch up to some of their earlier designs. They were quite good a few years ago. I'd say now they're in a little bit of a trickier spot. So Smooth, you're not the only one, mate. I think in many ways, some people are quite, not enjoying PSG's home shirt. Oh, Albertino, thanks for stopping by, mate. Some great comments and great questions. And yeah, I think we'll do some more, mate. But thank you, mate. Take care. So Smooth, just jump back to PSG. Obviously, the home shirt dominated a lot of the conversation because of the subliminal hectare stripe. It's essentially there, but not quite. So a lot of people were upset by that. Fans even protested. And that was kind of washed over with the Messi transfer. But the shorts did actually get some criticism as well. a lot of people saying, these are not football shorts, or they're saying that these are, they feel like a Jordan product more than a Nike or PSG item. And I wrote an article, a long form article about how Jordan have basically taken over, and I think it's fascinating. And if you search on Google, let's have a quick check actually. If you search, what about Jordan PSG takeover? Let's have a look. Yeah, if you search Jordan PSG takeover, it should be the second result after Wikipedia. There's an article there that I've written, and that goes into detail about how Jordan have gradually worked their way up into kind of influence and power in Paris, to the point now where it's quite fascinating that they are, it's crazy that PSG's home kit is very much a Jordan kit. It looks like a kind of Chicago Bulls tribute, and that is incredible to see. Wherever you think of the aesthetic, wherever you think whether it should or shouldn't be like that, it's amazing that in 2021 a brand, and yeah, I know Jordan are under the Nike family, but it's fascinating. It's fascinating. It will certainly be something that a lot of other people are looking at. Of course, we've already seen other collaborations. The fact that Jordan have managed to work their way up to that point is interesting. So do check out the article, PSG Jordan takeover. You should find my article there. If not, just give me a shout. That goes into a bit more of a deep dive, whether you like the kits or not. Oh yeah, Duncan. So Juve's yellow third shirt. It's not for me, but I think people were getting a bit carried away, a bit like Puma's third kits, getting a bit carried away with the hate around that. But to be honest, I don't like it. It's not for me. Juve have been blowing quite hot and cold over recent years. The third shirt is not one I'd buy, but you're right to mention the kind of 90s vibe, Duncan, and it does have that kind of geometric element. There's just something about it which just doesn't feel very very complete or very finished. I feel like, it, in terms of the colours, I like it when Juve have had yellow and blue, and of course that being, I believe that's the flag of Turin. They've certainly had a lot of yellow and blue away or third kits. But yeah, I feel like maybe it was just an idea that was never fully realised. That's the impression I get with that one. Yeah, middleman. Those shirts, the Coq Sportif Fiorentina shirts, I had one of them and I regret selling it because I really liked them. I can't remember which year it was that was particularly good. I think it was 17-18. There's some really nice trim on the collar and cuffs. There was a subliminal pattern on each of them, or subliminal kind of icon or image. And yeah, I regret selling. I had one of I think it was the red one from memory. But yeah, they're really hard to find now. I'd love to get one of them. Those shirts were very close on my recent video when I did my kind of top wish list. Any of those Fiorentina shirts were high on my wish list. They're really good shirts. Guys, I think I'll probably leave it there. But thank you so much. I've said it a few times, but honestly, guys, it's been really fun to chat. In many ways, we were sort of had plenty to talk about with the Champions League and trying to talk about Adidas. So it's been quite a hectic hour and a bit. But honestly, it's been so much fun. So thank you so much. Some great insight from you guys from the chat. And it's been really fun. New experience for me doing a live stream, but I think we'll do another one. I think I'll tweak the format. I'll work on some things. But this should hopefully fill in the gap between the episodes. And I'm conscious I don't do regular episodes, so hopefully these streams can help with that. And we can do some fun stuff. Maybe we'll do some other cool things. But thanks guys. Thanks Thomas, Alejandro, Chris, Middleman, Silky, all you guys. And others. It's been so good, so much fun. I think just as we finish, just to say one final time, do look forward to Behind the Chevrons, my new show of Humble. I cannot believe, I cannot believe I did some content with Hummel. It's mad. I honestly, whenever I say it, I have to kind of pinch myself. But anyway, that is coming soon, so guys, look out for that. Thanks, John Carl, Abertino, Seamus. It's been so fun, guys. It really has. I hope you've enjoyed the chat, the conversation. Yeah, as I say, the insight and the questions have been really, really good. I feel like half the questions we could have done a whole video on. But yeah, anyway, thanks so much, guys. I'll leave you with the outro screen. Enjoy the second half. Can Sheriff do it? Can they do the unthinkable and win away at Real? Will the likes of Milan and Dortmund hold out? Who knows? PSG City promises to be a good end as well. But yeah, thanks, guys. We'll see you very soon for a future Phil's Corner or Phil's Corner Live. And have a good evening. Take care.